Going to your first BlizzCon, not just wanting to survive but thrive at it? Need a few tips and tricks for BlizzCon 2019? Or maybe you're just here for the predictions. Either way, you'll find all that on this episode of Ketchin Games. Alright, let's get started. So let's cover the basics first. So it's important to understand, well, where we're going to be. So let's get a map up. Alright, so BlizzCon is at the Anaheim Convention Center, which is right near Disneyland, which is just to the north on this map, or up. The convention center is actually right here. Few things to keep note of as we look at it is that the Overwatch arena is this kind of arena right here, the circle, and the North Hall is this building right here. But let's go ahead and get started with the very first thing, and that's how to get your pass to get into BlizzCon. So first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go over to the parking structure, or well, parking lot I should say, right over here. For some reason, this BlizzCon, they're doing it, here's another map of it. They're doing it in the Sheraton parking lot, is where you pick up your registration. And it's a wristband this year. The previous years, it was just a lanyard with a badge in it. And they still have that, but this year, the primary access is actually a wristband, which they'll scan each day. It's probably some sort of near-field communication, but that's where you're picking it up this year. So once again, with the overhead view, it's right here, and on the map, it's right here. Okay. Now that we know that information, what else do we need to know about BlizzCon? Well, let's go ahead and get started. With the basics? What time does it start? The pregame starts here on Thursday, October 31st at 9 a.m. and it'll go to 5 p.m. So that's not really the con itself. That's pregame festivities. So they just have some stuff outside the con. I don't think they did this last year, at least 2018 when I was there. So that'll be interesting with what they have this year for that. Okay, if you have a benefit dinner or portal pass starting at 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., there's the night at the fair also on Thursday the 31st, Halloween day. If you do not have either of those two passes, you will not be able to attend that. But don't worry, there's another alternative that is free. But if you do, it starts at 4 p.m. and you pick up your pass at a slightly different location. Portal pass and dinner registrations actually pick up their passes in the Hilton, which is right here. So be aware that there's two different passes depending on two different pickup locations. There's actually a third location as well, which is over here on the south next to the Carport 4, which is off of Convention Hall D or E. So if you feel like the line is too large over here at the main one, there is a very small one over there. I probably recommend not using that. Blizzard themselves and kind of their wording has dissuaded it. But if you do, who knows, maybe everyone else will also take that advice and it'll be dead, and then you can run through and get your pass. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait till convention day to see that. Now, I mentioned earlier that there was another option. If you cannot, if you don't have a ticket for the night at the fair, and that is the Con Before the Storm. Con Before the Storm is was also called the Wowhead Party, but they've merged into one, and it is another event that's going on during BlizzCon week, on the day before, so on Halloween day, and they have all sorts of fun stuff there. I went last year and had a blast. They had a claw machine. They have a wheel that you could spin and win prizes in. They had an art gallery. This year, they have people signing, or not really signing, it's a meet and greet with, I don't know, I guess streamers, or other people that are in the, kind of related to Blizzard in one way or another. So be sure to check that out. If you want some information, just hit the tabs there. Here's the whole list of meet and greet. fan art gallery. I actually won a piece of the art gallery, which I got to go there to pick up. So it should be a lot of fun. So if you're into that, go ahead and check that out as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some tips and tricks that'll help you get the most out of your BlizzCon. Number one, bring a water bottle. Maybe not this water bottle. This one I got last year at BlizzCon. It's a StarCraft 2 one, but bring a water bottle. You tend to get distracted with everything that's going on at BlizzCon, and one of the things you forget to do is drink enough water. I noticed at one point, I think on day one, I went like 6 hours without drinking hardly anything. Not great, so bring a water bottle. Make sure it's empty though, or sealed. I would suggest your Yetis or your your Steel Series, not Steel Series, just something that's insulated. But if not, grab a Fiji or a Smart Water or an Arrowhead or something, and it has to be sealed if you're using one of those. These you can be empty and fill up at the con. The next thing I would highly recommend bringing in the same vein is Chapstick. Kind of for the same deal. If you are not drinking enough, you're probably going to get chapped lips, so bring some Chapstick. I didn't personally have too big of a problem with it, but I wish I would have brought it last year just in case, so I'm going to bring some this year. So make sure you bring that as well. Number 3, very important one, your phone. Yep. I mean, now Blizzard's forcing you. Don't you guys have phones? Yeah, we have to have our phone. You need your phone to get your pass that I mentioned earlier, so you have to bring it. Another thing that you're going to want this phone for is you're going to want probably at least 4 apps, maybe 5 apps on there. You're going to need the AXS app. That's the one you're going to use to pick up the your ticket. The next one is obviously the BlizzCon app. That way you can check the schedule, which I'll get to in just a moment. The next one after that is probably like Yelp or Google Maps to help you get around, or actually both. Let's say you have Google Maps and you're using that to navigate, but then you're using that because you're trying to get to somewhere. Like say you want find a place for dinner and you don't know the area, so you want to try to find some place that's good. Yelp it, and then get there with Google Maps. If you don't have an Android, obviously iPhone users use your Apple Maps. Whatever mapping program you prefer, that'll get you there, but something. And then lastly, the next one you're probably going to want is an Uber or a Lyft to get you some transportation. Yes, you can drive to the con every day, and yes, you can pay the parking fee. But honestly, depending on how far you are away from the con, it's just quicker and easier, and maybe even a little bit cheaper to just Uber it, or even walk it if your hotel is really close. So Uber or Lyft, doesn't matter, whichever one you prefer. They're all good. So get one. Next tip and trick is bring a backpack. Okay, you can bring your own backpack, or you can get the BlizzCon backpack. These have Velcro, so you can put all sorts of little badges that they sell there. So that's one option, is to do that. Again, you can bring your own, but this one's pretty cool. They've had this one out for 3 years, I want to say. I think this goes back to... yeah, I think this is 3 years old now. And they come out with slightly different badges every year, so some of these you probably can't get anymore. But other ones you can, that'll be new. So if you're into that sort of collecting thing, check it out. If you don't want to bring a backpack, though, another option is the messenger bag. Again, it's kind of in the same vein. Bring a bag. Like I said, it'll help with anything you purchase, help holding that water bottle we mentioned. They might be giving away stuff they usually do, so that way you can throw it in something to keep hands free, keep mobile. Might need your cell phone recharger with you. There's just so many things that you're probably going to have to take with you, or you'll pick up there that you're going to want a bag. So make sure you bring a bag. Okay, and the next thing you need, bring friends. It's not a joke. Like if possible, go with people or meet up with people that play Blizzard games, that are there that you already know, or that you have met online and that you're there to meet and hang out with them, because everything you do at BlizzCon is better if you have friends. And I'm not, it's not a joke, it's just, it's actually a real thing. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you are at the Darkmoon Faire, and there is a line for the Time Walker's cache, and there's also another line for the plushie slash, forget what, they merged something else in with the plushies this year. But you want both, okay? Say you need that Moonkin, Alliance Moonkin in your life, but you also need a Time Walker's chest in your life. You would have to wait in both lines. But if you're going with friends, you have one friend wait in one line, you wait in the other line, or you have a third friend in yet another line, and you just give them the money that they need. So yes, trust your friends. Hopefully you have friends that you trust. And then you can do all three at the same time waiting in one line, because the lines at BlizzCon are crazy. Maybe I'll insert an image if I can find it of one of the lines. If not, check out my Twitter from last year. I think I posted it. It was some of the craziest lines I've ever seen. So they moved them pretty good, but they're crazy lines. So again, next thing is bring some friends. So now with all that being said, kind of going back to our tips and tricks, but also kind of plan out your day. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the schedule. So the schedule is here on Blizzard's BlizzCon website, and you can scroll through it. The images I have here that have a whole day is from Wowhead. Someone either stitched them together or played with their size on the image to get it to fit in one screen, but they're pretty handy. You can also use the Blizzard BlizzCon app that I mentioned earlier, and that will have another way that you can check the schedule, but plan it out. I would pick out the most important things that you want to do. I mean, if you're there for on day 2, like, you want to watch the Overwatch World Cup Finals, start there and then work your way some other direction. Or let's say you are all about Voices of Azeroth, like you just want to see if Laura Bailey's there or something like that. If that's whatever it is you want to do, set aside those things, those really important things first, and that way, if there's hours or times that that there's nothing really that is mandatory for you to do, or you really have a strong urge to do, go explore, go walk around. You might find some cool stuff, or do your shopping in that period. There is a whole level of a store, and there's also there's actually two levels this time. There's the Darkmoon Faire, which they have every year, and then this other part of the store, the standard BlizzCon store, which is directly underneath it this year. That's a little bit different. I'll show you on the map. So both stores are in the North Hall, which we showed earlier on the other map. The Darkmoon Faire is in the level 2, which is where it was last year. Again, there's the Time Walker's trading post I mentioned, and the Wonderworks pop-up shop. That's what they renamed the plushie thing from last year. So I know they're selling a couple other things with it. I just don't recall what they are. That is that, again, level 1 has the regular Blizzard store. Your commemorative collectible, which was either the Footman or the Grunt, that you get when you pick up your BlizzCon pass. You don't get it there. You actually have to come in and go to level 1 of the North Hall to get it. So just so you know about that, it's not there at registration. You actually have to come inside and get it. They're also bringing back their Blink shopping that they, I think, debuted last year, and that's a way you can order in their BlizzCon app ahead of time and then pick it up and hopefully avoid some of the massive lines. I used it once or twice last time, and overall it works out pretty well. The only hard part about it is there's 2 different inventories. So if you order something through the Blink shop and just want to walk up and pick it up, it may be sold out in the Blink area, but they'll have it in the regular store, which is really connected. I know it sounds odd, and then you can still get it that way. So just keep that in mind. Now, what else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about BlizzCon predictions. So number 1, I think it's safe to say we're going to get Diablo 4. If they don't give us Diablo 4, they don't give us Diablo 4, I think there's going to be rioting in the streets after last year. So I'm pretty sure that's a safe one. Number 2, again, it should be super obvious, but we should be getting the announcement of the next WoW expansion. Dragon Isle, Shadowlands are the big, you know, theories right now. We'll see if that happens. I would be down to play either of them, so hopefully something fun gets announced. And then the third one is, that's kind of like for sure, is Overwatch 2. And it seems to be pretty confirmed they're calling it Overwatch 2. I don't know what that actually is going to entail. I know the big rumors are that's a ton more PvE content. But in terms of what type of PvE that means, I don't know. I don't know if that means there's going to be no PvP and it's going to be only story mode content. I don't know if that means there's going to be any RPG elements, like you level a character and you unlock better abilities, like maybe Tracer's Pulse Bomb gets buffed as you level the character. I don't know. There's lots of theories online. We'll see if any of them come to fruition, but those are the three big ones I think everybody's safe on predictions. Now the question is how many more predictions are coming? So let's go ahead and take a look back at that schedule that we saw earlier. So after the opening ceremonies on the Mythic stage, there is 4 slots immediately after that are spread out that say coming soon. Also on day 2, there is another spot, actually 2 other spots called coming soon. So that means there's probably up to 6 major announcements. I'm almost certain one of them is going to be a mobile game from an existing Blizzard intellectual property or IP. I'm guessing it's either going to be... I'm guessing Overwatch, but if it's not Overwatch, I'm guessing it will be a World of Warcraft related. But I expect a mobile game to be announced as well. I don't think they're going to announce the mobile game first. I think it'll be after the WoW expansion or Overwatch 2 is announced, and they'll quickly say, oh yeah, and we're announcing this mobile game. But there's all these 6 spots, and kind of leads me to believe that one of these might actually be a new game. So let's think about this for a second. So there's 6 open spots. There is StarCraft, Hearthstone, Overwatch, Diablo, and World of Warcraft or Warcraft. That's 5 things, because, and I don't count Heroes of the Storm because they've already stated that they're basically done with major development on it. So unless they're spending a whole hour dedicated to a hero, I kind of don't think that it's going to be Heroes of the Storm, especially since right here on the same day there's a Heroes of the Storm update. So we'll see if I'm wrong about that, but I kind of think prediction-wise we're going to see possibly another new game. And if they do a new game, I'm kind of feeling like it's going to be StarCraft 3. That's my guess there. So I'm guessing we're going to see Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, the next WoW expansion, StarCraft 3, and a Hearthstone update, and then I think that's about it. I think I covered everything there. So that's going to conclude our tips and tricks section. I know some of it's basic, some of it makes a lot of sense, some of it will probably help you, especially if you've never been to BlizzCon before. Just kind of get a grasp on this situation. I'm going to play a video after this where I talk about kind of a walkthrough of BlizzCon. The footage is super shaky, so if you don't want to stick around for it, I completely understand. But I'm going to play that, and it'll give you kind of if you just kind of want to see what it looks like, check that out, and it'll show you kind of an idea of what everything else looks like. So for those of you who've made it this far, thanks for watching. Please give this, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I think, yeah, thumbs up for YouTube. So used to Twitch anymore. Subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that greatly. And for those of you who want to check that out, stick with me, and we're going to go through kind of a walkthrough of at least 2018 BlizzCon. So let's do that. So we're going to start our tour of BlizzCon with a view of Hall D. This is the Mythic area, and this is where the Diablo Immortal was set up, which was kind of the new thing. If you remember from the map we showed earlier, there's nothing listed here, which again kind of screams new game, probably mobile game, because that's where they set it up last year. They had a little like Diablo themed tavern right next to it, which you see right there. And then we start heading north through the hall, and we'll make our way to Hall C, which is the traditional World of Warcraft stage. They will do the arena, three championship there on Sunday, and then on Saturday, and then on Friday they'll do the Mythic Dungeon Invitational finals there. They'll also probably have demos for the new expansion. That's pretty much how it is set up. So you'll see that as you come into Hall C. Hall D, which we just passed, is the Mythic stage, is the biggest stage that they have. I don't know if it actually has more capacity than the arena, but it is a big hall. So even if it doesn't, it's pretty huge. So they obviously run a lot of the part of the opening ceremonies there in the community night. To the right, we just saw the all access stage right here, just almost the Hall C. Yeah, pretty much at the edge of Hall C. That's where Malik and Michelle were last year. And there's the third guy, which his name's just escaped me. Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll remember it. And then we continue walking towards Hall B. Cosplay, there's a Sally Whitemane. And then there's a Jayna statue, which they have again this year. But this year's Jayna statue is in front of the Hearthstone section, so it's not in front of WoW section or the WoW hall. So it's going to be moved one down, and the statue that was in front of the other hall, which will be Sylvanas, is actually moved down this way towards World of Warcraft, which seems to indicate, just as a lot of other people have inferred, that Sylvanas is going to be playing a major role in the next WoW expansion, which I think we've all seen kind of coming as well. So we continue heading north, and this way we're closing in on Hall B. And Hall B was Heroes of the Storm last year. They had a lot of Orphea because she was the new character, and then they had the GC, or the championship for Hearthstone. But obviously they're not using it for that this year because they're not having any sponsored Hearthstone, or excuse me, Heroes of the Storm tournaments. And instead, it's going to be Hearthstone. They are going to have a pretty big demo area, which I find interesting. I'll show you when I walk through the Hearthstone area later, and what it looked like, but it was not nearly as packed as the Heroes area. So I'm kind of shocked that they're moving Hearthstone all the way over here to have such a prominent spot on Hall B, but they are. So so there should be a lot for Hearthstone. I also don't know if it's going to be such a good idea with the political statements going on. I have a feeling a lot of protesters or potential protesters will be focused in that area. So as I mentioned previously, a Sylvanas statue, which was here in front of Hall B, will be moved down to Hall C. Alright, so let's continue our tour north from Hall B, which again was Heroes of the Storm. In this direction, we're going toward Hall A and the arena. And in this case, Hall A housed the StarCraft tournament. Oh my gosh, again, shaky cam warning. I know I prefaced it earlier, but it is really bad through here. The stage was occupied by StarCraft. However, this area in front of the stage, as you can see, was mostly Overwatch. Actually, they have the Payload Tour, which is returning again this year, and then they had the demo for Overwatch. They also have a little area where people could build Legos for Overwatch. And then lastly, they had some broadcasters, just like a little T-Mobile area that people were sitting watching it, if they didn't want to actually go into the arena itself. They did have a Tracer statue up front here for this year, and I think it is still here last year. I'll double check on the map after we watch all of the videos. They also had a couple really good cosplay. I don't know if you saw it in the section near Sylvanas, but there was a sponsored Jayna cosplay that was outstanding. I was asking the one of the people there where they got the Lucio O's because they weren't out yet, and so I got some information about that as we continued on. So there's the StarCraft WCS banner for what they did with that. They're actually doing StarCraft WCS is only on Saturday, and it's going to be in the arena. And then on Sunday, Overwatch is back in the arena, but Saturday, Overwatch is out here in the in Hall A. I kind of don't get that change, but I guess maybe they had overcrowding with StarCraft, and the group stages for Overwatch weren't as packed, so they decided to move that so that they have better crowd control. I don't know, but they have made that change for this year. One other thing to note is plan out your eating. I should have mentioned that in the tips and tricks section earlier, but like that grill right here behind the Diva statue, you can only actually access that grill by getting into the Overwatch arena and coming back. And I know that because I got turned around. So this is the entrance to the arena. I don't have any footage of inside the arena except for a couple pictures. So, all right. Lastly, we have the North Hall, and this is the Hearthstone area. There was a tavern there, and the championship had just been won as I walked in. That's why you see the celebration kind of going on stage. But it's not nearly as big as the other halls, and there's, as you can see, there's plenty of seating here. There's definitely people. Again, sorry about the shaky cam. But this was the championship, so I'm a little shocked that they dedicated so much of the other hall, B, for Hearthstone this year. So maybe they're just going to make a bigger global push with it. We'll have to see, but that's the end of the Hearthstone tournament, and that's the bottom level of the North Hall, which is where the store is going to be this year, and the pickup for the collectible. Alright, and then lastly we have the North Hall. On the second floor, we have the entrance to the Darkmoon Faire. Now you can get to Hall A from the Hall D area, and there's a walkway that connects it. It's also shown on the Blizzard map, which I'll put up again at the very end. But there's a walkway that connects it, and the North Hall. Floor 2 is where the Darkmoon Faire is. So that line there is for the Time Walkers trading post, and they basically had these boxes where you could, buy discontinued or potentially discontinued merchandise in there. And you got a little bit of everything. It was kind of they were like $40, so they were a little pricey, but they generally had more value than their cost, so it was okay. So we enter the hall, North Hall again, level 2, and this is the Darkmoon Faire. They had the Time Walker section right there. There's the entry, from the game. There's some book stuff over there. Over here they had a little shooting gallery for Nerf. There's the plushie area. Again, sorry about the shaky cam. They also had 2 stages here. That one was pretty darn small. And then there's the epic stage, which will be to your left while watching the video. And there's pin trading over there. And then there's the capsules, which had the Velcro that went on the backpacks that I showed earlier. Alright, and the last part of North Hall. There's the epic stage. And then going back, we had there's the the capsule area there. And I think that was the edge again of where the plushies were. So yeah, there's the capsules. You put some money in, and it would dispense one of the Velcro patches that went on your backpack. And then over here they had some rare pins. And more just pins in general over here in this last little area on the right. Okay, so again, here's the map. Again, they've actually catty-cornered the epic stage over in the Darkmoon Faire. Everything else appears to be the same thing in terms of what they're actually going to be selling. It says caricature barbershop. I don't remember what that was from last year, so that may be new. Everything else seems to be in line with what I remember. Again, there's something called the Overwatch Mystery Mural. I don't remember what that is. There is no Tracer statue. Actually, there's a Diva statue, it looks like, this year. And that appears to be the major changes that I had not mentioned already. The Hearthstone Tavern may be a good spot to get some food. We'll have to see if they're actually serving food there. I'm kind of guessing that they will, but it's going to be a good size area, which may be the biggest area to get food. Beyond that, again, we'll talk a little bit about Hall E over here. I lost my footage for Hall E. I remember going back and filming it, but it looks like it's going to be demos of old games, and then some signing down there, and then some food. So that may be another good spot to get food. I have a feeling that the demos down there are going to be fairly light because they're all older games. There's also a Rainer statue down there, and like I said, a couple different places to get food. It looks like there is. That's going to be the gist of it. So again, that may be a good area to relax and get some food, and also check out some of the older Blizzard games. So again, if you made it all the way to the end of even the crazy bouncing shaky cam section, I do appreciate that. So once again, thanks for watching. Primarily, you can catch me over on Twitch. Socials are somewhere. You'll find it. Again, like the video if you enjoyed this type of content. I would appreciate it. Subscribe if you can. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next video.